You know what? If we're going to be talking about the AI thing, then together, you and I are going to be watching a video called that AI art is good, actually? Okay. Sure. Why not? We'll entertain the idea for a second. First of all, is the stuff that is generated by AI art? Secondly, can we even call anything that is not made by a sapient being art? If the AI is not sapient, then the things it produces are not art. So, that is my opinion. The AI lacks the ability to produce it, so it's AI-generated images then. Raka says, will AI be useful for medicine, maybe? I mean, we know that it's useful for medicine. We know that... So, the thing is, remember, this is a tool that has use cases. The problem is not that it doesn't have use cases. The problem is that there's some fucking dumb shit who is constantly trying to tell you that there's 12 billion use cases instead of like 12. Said, yeah, but will it be used for it? I mean, it already is being, like, the machine learning and large language models stuff that is the groundwork for how modern AI is built is being used in medical fields. Yes. Dorito says, I'm of the opinion that AI art is art. It's in the name after all, but we ought to reject it on humanity grounds. Yeah, so first of all, that means that North Korea is in fact a republic, which it is not. So we're not doing that one. You know that one's a silly one. Anyway, let's actually talk about some art real quick. This is art. This is made by a person. This is made by Hazel Blossom. This is a real person in my Discord who really made an art. And it is way, way, way more interesting than anything that gets spat out of a fucking machine. Okay? Okay. Thank you for your art, because it is infinitely better than anything that a robot fucking farts out. Hazel, I appreciate it a ton. And let's go ahead and get into the actual thing that we're going to be talking about right now. And bop.
Clanker.
Donald Trump seems to love AI art.
Dirty fucking clanker.
Artificial general intelligence is going to kill you and everyone you love, and probably suck the blood out of your body and use it for cybernetic torture.
AI art is basically synonymous with fascism.
I think we are all tired of AI at this point.
What will happen when AI art is good?
Yeah, so if you are an artist, this has been a really bad week for you. And I want to promise you that it's going to get worse. And nobody wants to talk about that because all they want to do is look good on Twitter.
Over the last 2 years, AI art has got...
Spyrofan says, I had somebody argue that clanker was a slur at my old job. Spyrofan, I would like to agree with them. Clanker is a slur, and we should use it more often. There are a few instances in which I think slurs are entirely appropriate. When it is against the robot, and when Kunari from Pokemon Legends ZA says them about me. Because if you played that game, you know for a fact she called you fucking slurs. Anyway.
Really good. It used to look like absolute trash. It was drawing dudes with fingers coming out of their ears and elbows on their necks and eyes pointing in opposite directions. And a lot of people said, AI art sucks. It looked...
Okay, so, yeah, AI art sucked then because it looked horrible, and it didn't look horrible on purpose, it just looked horrible. AI art sucks now because of the implications of what it is and what it does and how it's made.
It's disgusting. It will always look disgusting. AI will never be able to draw hands. It will never be able to produce beauty. But then, last spring, you had the Studio Ghibli trend. Everybody and their dog was uploading photos to ChatGPT and it was redrawing them as Studio Ghibli style anime. The drawings actually looked really good. They were aesthetic. They were fun.
Frostitio says, I think the clanker stuff is BS actually, because the robots aren't the problem, the tech oligarchs who had them developed are. Right. Agreed. But here's the flip end of that. By calling them clankers, we are not harming anybody. Like, I would agree that it's BS if we were harming somebody, but the clankers aren't people. So the slur doesn't hurt people because there's no people there to hurt. Now, if the argument is that by saying clanker, we are aiming the gun at the wrong place, I would argue bit of column A, bit of column B. So I've said before, AI is a tool. Now, If the use case of that tool is one where it replaces your ability to engage with other human beings, then that's a fucking clanker, that's a skinwalker, burn it alive at the stake. Yes, I also am going to say that the person who developed the technology, or rather the person who was trying to sell that technology to you and me and tell me and you that it is the #1 bestest thing in the entire world that we need to be investing 12 billion Dogecoin into, that person is also a fucking problem. Yes, but we also need to meet this technology with where it is and what it is. As of right now, it is a technology that has been built on stolen artwork and stolen work in general. It is a technology that violates a shit ton of copyright, violates a lot of human rights shit, and the technology as a tool is not inherently evil, but there are aspects of the technology that we most certainly can point to that are. When it is used to steal the artwork there, yeah, there's a tech oligarch there that's wanting that, but there might also be a person at the other end who's wanting that scraping as well. I can have a problem with the tool at that point, too. When somebody is committing suicide because the robot told them so, I can call the robot any slur I want, and I will continue to do so. Hellbound says, but we're talking unearned profit from the billionaires when we deride their data centers as clankers. We're taking unearned profit from the billionaires when we deride their data centers as clankers. So we can call the billionaires clankers because they're not humans anyway? Yeah, billionaires aren't people. Trillionaires are even less of people. And if people aren't people, then, implications.
Now, maybe if you were a professional artist, you could tell, oh, the lighting is slightly off, or the proportions are slightly wrong, but to most people, AI art today looks pretty good. If you are one of those people who can...
Why do you keep showing everything with the piss sepia filter? Like, I think it's really shitty that the thing that you're using as the thing that caused everybody to start liking AI art is the Ghibli filter. The thing that directly stole from a famous artist who directly wants all of this shit burned to the ground. And also looks like piss.
Immediately tell, that's AI. Okay, fair enough. But look how far we've come in just 2 years. What about 5 years from now? 10 years from now?
Yeah, 10 years from now, it's going to improve. As all technology tends to do, the technology will improve. The argument is not solely that it looks bad. The argument is that it looked bad, and also it was built off of stolen property.
What happens when AI art is genuinely beautiful?
Well, it depends how you're defining beauty. Because when I look at art, I tend to think of a lot of things, like, well, what decisions were made in the process of building it? What was going through the head of the person who made it? Why did they happen to have certain strokes that they really, really leaned into? Why did they have a style that they leaned into? As opposed to when we're asking why a robot did something, the answer is always, like, there's no actual reason. It's the robot said it should.
That be good? Wouldn't it be good if ordinary people could create beautiful paintings and cute drawings without shelling out $300 on a commission that might...
Pick up a pencil. Pick up a fucking pencil. Or, you know that artists are ordinary people, right? You are aware that art is a skill, and artists are ordinary people who have developed a skill. And because artists are ordinary people who've developed a skill, then you too can develop that skill. If you do not want to develop that skill, then you are instead saying not that wouldn't it be cool if people can create it, because they're not creating that. What you're saying is, isn't it neat that I deserve it? Because that's really what the argument is. The argument is that you think that you deserve this artwork. Not that you could create it. It is that you think you deserve it. So shelling out on commission and then calling it your own creation. Said, I've developed some art skill, not a lot though. Progress says, but Suris, the companies say that gambling is skill and art is work. Why would the companies lie to us? Necrotrial says, seriously, I have a friend who has cerebral palsy and is an artist who sells their work. Raka says, okay, but can the AI draw my commission with a shrimp posture? I mean, probably, but that's not the point. The point is nobody is owed a particular kind of artwork. If some artist decides that they want to do something for you for free, then cool. If an artist decides that they need to charge for their work, then cool. If you want something made specifically, and you just want it spat out by the robot, at least admit that you just care about the end result more than you care about the creative process. But never use the C word when we're talking about what the robot is doing, because you're not doing anything.
Not even turn out the way they imagined? No! AI art is evil. It's taking jobs from artists. Well,
yeah, it is, objectively. Like, that's what it's doing. When corporations are forced to use art made by people, there are artwork positions available at corporate levels that people can use and get contracts for, where they can get healthcare and rely on it. If you are instead able to just generate it with the robot instead of relying on somebody with a set of skills, and moreover, that robot is generating its image based on a series of works that were copyrighted by somebody else, then I'm sorry, but objectively, that took jobs away. That took jobs away from people. That's how that works.
We'll all be unemployed. Now hold on. You can't have it both ways.
What?
Is art a deeply personal, spiritual process that
Yes, it is.
you do for the sheer love of beauty? Or is it a way to make money?
It's you can have it both ways. Did you know that there are people who play video games for the sheer love of playing video games and also happen to be on Twitch as a way to make money? Did you know that there are people who have passions of theirs in masonry and then get into construction because of their passion for masonry? Did you know that there are people who have a passion for computing or coding and therefore get into those industries because they would like to do the job that coincides with the thing that they love? Art is both deeply passionate human experience, and it is also a product to be sold. This has been the case for literally all of time. Except maybe cave paintings, but I don't know enough about that particular period to know what kind of currency was given for that. Maybe club sex? I don't know. You can have it both ways because these are not mutually exclusive. You can only not have it both ways when the two experiences are, in fact, mutually exclusive to one another. As Nethercat just pointed out a second after I said it, no.
Look, I write novels, and eventually I would love to get published and make a bunch of money from my books. But
Okay. And?
even if I never do, even if I just release them as web novels and never make a dime, I will still be happy. I enjoy writing for its own sake, for the
Right. Yeah. Most artists also enjoy writing for its own sake. But did you know that art as a career is something that gets opened up to people oftentimes because they have disabilities? I'm not saying that is the case all the time, but when artists are employed doing what they love, you benefit from it. You get things from that. You get comics from people who love what they're doing. You get movies from people who love what they're doing. You get video games from people who love what they're doing. You get that when the artists are doing a job they are passionate about. You don't get to do this stupid fucking, you should just do it for free because you're supposed to love it. You can't have it both ways, her. No, that's fucking stupid in 12 different ways that I could spell it.
beauty of the story and the characters and the world building. If you stop making art because it's not profitable, maybe you were never an artist in the first place.
Yeah, that's not how artists operate. So, as somebody who is actually friends with a lot of artists, which you seem to not be because you don't seem to have any fucking respect for them, let me explain this to you from the perspective of the artist whom I have talked to about this. One of those artists has said that art is a deeply human experience and it is repulsive to see that replaced by robots. It's a very human, passionate response, but it's one that I definitely understand. Other artists that I have talked to in regards to this particular thing have said that they love what they do. They love the art that they get to do. But at the same time, they need to fucking eat. And many of them are very, very disabled, and the only job that they can do that they also would enjoy is the artwork, and telling them that no, you should have that ripped away from you because I deserve to AI generate this image of Will Smith pounding fucking Dark Magician Girl or some shit. I'm sorry, but no. This is one of the reasons why the SAG-AFTRA Guild had to fight as hard as it did when there was the voice actor strike going on. because one of the main contention points was trying to make sure that people who are employed in the voice acting industry would not have their voices used for AI purposes. Their skills that they have been developing are things that have use cases, things that have worth, and to throw those into the robot blender and then spit out, like, get whatever spits out of it because it costs you less money and you can just make slop out of it. We need to be able to stop corporations from doing that. I don't want to say that you personally, as an individual, should not have access to the fucking generation software. It already exists. Pandora's box has already been opened. I can't stop you from generating the art. But I don't think you individually generating the art is the fucking problem. The problem is the entire industry around it. The people who are trying to sell AI as the answer to everything. The people who are trying to use AI to replace people's jobs. And it's not just artistic jobs. Do you know how many people's jobs are currently being threatened by AI? Seriously, in my comment section, over on YouTube, once this video comes out, please do me a favor and tell me if your boss has threatened that your job can be replaced by the fucking robot, or if you have actively lost your job to the fucking robot. Because I know a non-zero amount of people who have lost their jobs to the fucking robot and have been actively told that they are replaceable by them as a way to threaten them in the workplace. The problem is not just the thing existing. That's a symptom. The problem is the industry around it. Pernia says, you mean me? Pernia, you are one of my friends who has had this thrown at them. Yes, you are one of them.
Now, there is one very valid concern with AI, and
Now, there's actually several, but go ahead and give me your straw man.
specifically AI videos, which is that it will create an epistemological crisis in the justice system, because so much of the justice system relies on video footage, right? Like, oh, the security cam has a video of you breaking into my store and stealing the cash register, or the video camera shows that you were actually over here and you weren't anywhere near the scene of the crime, so you're off the hook, stuff like that. But when AI video becomes so good, and I would argue it's pretty much already there, that it's indistinguishable from real life, especially when you're comparing like grainy security cam footage, there's no way to tell if it's real or if it's AI. It's just, you're completely cooked. There's no way to know. So that causes...
Okay, that is one of the problems. Yes, that is one of them. Sure, there are more, as I've articulated, but sure, we'll go with the one.
a huge epistemological crisis where all that evidence has to be basically thrown out. And I would agree, that is concerning. However, there's actually a very good aspect to that I think a lot of people are not talking about.
Oh?
Let's say there's a video of you at your 16th birthday party doing blackface. Or, alternatively...
What? Why would that be a thing? Why is that something that comes to your mind immediately? Like, in the entire grab bag of, like, bad things that one person could have done, that's a very specific example. Justin Trudeau.
A video of you singing along to a Kanye West song. And, let's just say you're not censoring any of those special, fun words. If one of those videos surfaces...
Again, you seem to have some pretty awfully specific examples, my guy. I don't know why we're doing that. Instead, literally a reflection.
You could be completely cooked. Look, I don't know if you've heard, but there's this thing called cancel culture. Nobody's talking about it, but it's a real problem, very real, and...
Nobody's talking about people haven't been able to shut the fuck up about cancel culture for 12 years. 12!
You could get screwed based on videos of you doing things that are frankly not that bad. You definitely don't deserve to have your life ruined. The good thing about AI videos is that it makes that also inadmissible, because it's...
So your defense of AI is that when you do something bad, you can then lie about having done it by saying that it's just AI generated. That's your defense. Your defense is that you can do harmful things and then point to AI generation as the reason why nobody should believe that you did those things. Now, I am the very first person to say that, like, if somebody does some dumb shit when they're a kid, they shouldn't be held accountable to that when they're a fucking adult. And the further we get from the event that somebody has engaged in that was harmful, the less accountable for that thing I can hold them if they have become a different person. I can't hold somebody to being a bully if they're 30 years old and they are literally the nicest person on the planet just because they were giving people locker room swirlies back when they were 15 and 16. I don't get to hold them to that identity anymore. So I can agree with at least the sentiment that we shouldn't hold people to the fucking standard that they're the same person at 16 when they did stupid shit as they are now when they're 30 or 40 or 50. But if the argument's going to be, I can now lie and point and say it's AI, that just sounds like an admission of the kind of person that you are, and that scares me more than maybe it should.
It's very easy now to just say, yeah, that's just AI generated. Like, yeah, someone who hates me just made up that fake video. I never did that. And what are they going to say? So by the same token that it makes it harder for the courts to prove people's guilt, it also means that the court of public opinion doesn't have as much jurisdiction, and so it actually can be a very...
Man, it sounds like this is just a guy who really wants to do things that would get him scrutinized by the court of public opinion. Like, he really wants to do problematic things that would get him scrutinized by the court of public opinion so that he could just point to AI videos existing as the reason why he's, not accountable.
Very freeing thing. And, I don't know. I don't know how to weigh those two. Frankly, a lot of video evidence in the courts is just kind of not that good anyway. Security cameras are constantly malfunctioning. So really, you're better off relying on, fingerprints, DNA, testimony, things like that.
You mean the things that are already relied on, that you're explaining how the court system already works, as if you're some expert talking about improvements that can be done to it. That's already how we do things. Generally. Yeah, this feels like Shower Thoughts the video. I'm gonna get maybe a couple more minutes in it, but if this is still just gonna be Shower Thoughts the video, I don't think there's much we can gain from this.
So to me, it's a really big, at least silver lining, if not outright saving grace.
Yeah, the saving grace is that when you're told to stop saying the N-word, you can say that's AI generated and then go back to continually saying the N-word. I don't know. I don't feel like that's a good thing. I feel like maybe at the very least it's a neutral one. Like, to give it the best grace possible.
That AI videos make it so that cancel culture is basically defanged when it comes to videos of you.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the people who worry the most about cancel culture are the people who should be thrown in under the bus most by it, usually. Like, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe that's me being dumb as hell. But I feel like I don't generally have the shower thought of, like, here's all the things that could possibly ruin me. AI video will save the day. Like, I don't generally have that problem.
Doing controversial, unkosher things. Now, there is one argument against AI art that I have a lot of sympathy for. The environmental argument.
So, not the lived human experiences, not the real people who have lost their jobs, not the people who are actively suffering right now, the climate crisis. The one that is, quite frankly, far easier to solve than all of the other ones. Like, as somebody who's actually done research into this, as somebody who has actively looked into this, actively argued with my chat about this and had to present evidence in my favor on here, the environmental impact of AI can be completely curbed by choosing better places to put the data centers, by forcing regulations to be adhered to in regards to how they do their water treatment, by forcing different types of cooling methods onto the data centers themselves. Realistically, data center technology as we use it right now is not really that much of an expansion over previously existing server technology that we already had. So the environmental one, yes, I understand is a problem, but the environmental one is the one that has the easiest solutions. Like, seriously, go and lobby to your Congress right now and figure out what their water treatment practices are and figure out how far you can force a data center to adhere to better water treatment needs. You can also lobby to have the data centers not able to be ran off of fossil fuels in the first place. There's a lot of ways you can handle this part. the easiest thing to tackle in this particular scenario is the environmental one. This is also kind of evidenced by China. So how good they are at this, I don't know, because information is always spotty the further across the sea you get it. But in China, there are more regulations on data centers that force them to require green energy, as an example. If they can do it over there, we can fucking do it over here. Like, I'm sorry. So the one concern you have is the one that we have the most control factors on. And the concerns that you don't have are AI-generated CP, for instance. Like, that's not a problem, I guess. Like, that's... your silver lining is that we can now do more crimes, and video evidence is less permissible now? Okay. Sure. Why not? Why not? I don't think you've thought any of this through very well.
Most people assume that because AI uses so much energy, it must be catastrophic for the environment. Now,
I mean, it is right now. Like, okay. I'm going to be the person who's actually read into this, so I get to fight this particular point. The way that we handle this in the States, it fucking is. We drop data centers in places that have active droughts. We drop data centers in places that do not have the power grid necessary to support them, and therefore we cut off fucking hospitals from being able to have power. We actively fuck up shit with our water regulations and do not treat water coming in and out of those plants properly because it is cheaper to do the barest minimum or not even do the bare minimum and then lie about it. I have already gone through this entire thing. I have done this entire song and dance. But okay.
Environmentalist, and if it were true that AI art hurt the environment, I would be against it.
But it does. In its current form, in its current usage, in the current way that we live in the States, the impact is large and it does hurt the environment. That is a true statement.
Have to remember is that human art also requires energy.
So if I pick up a pencil right now and draw Paper Mario getting rammed by Kirby, that has an environmental impact that I need to care about. Are you an idiot?
Scientific Reports ran a study to measure this, and they actually found that AI art is more eco-friendly than human art.
So make that make sense to me. Let's see here. Nature articles. The carbon emissions of writing and illustrating are lower for AI than for humans. As AI systems proliferate, their greenhouse gas emissions are increasingly important concerns for human societies. So we're just talking greenhouse gas emissions? That's only one form of environmental impact, my guy. That is only one form of environmental impact. Me making a picture does not increase the amount of strain on a droughted region. But dropping an AI data center somewhere does. Okay. It's just going to be about CO2 emissions. Sure, why not?
I'll put the study in the description, but essentially, AI art emits between 310 and 2,900 times less carbon than human artists.
Okay, so what do we just start killing people then? Like,
I also pasted another experiment that goes into even more detail. So despite what you might assume, if people eventually switch over to AI...
Okay, so this is a very disingenuous way of doing that. This is an incredibly disingenuous way of arguing this point. Because you're, again, only looking at the CO2 emissions. If statement 1 is about environmental impact, vague statement, and statement 2 is about CO2 emissions, specific statement, we've done a Mott and Bailey. We have gone from the indefensible argument, which is the environmental impact of AI. Right now, in its current form, in the States, the environmental impact is high as fuck, to the more defensible statement about CO2 emissions, in which case, if I ate a particularly raunchy burger, then yeah, maybe I emit more CO2 while drawing a picture of Kirby ramming Paper Mario in the backside than it takes for the prompt to do it when it's using, what is it? A cup of water? It's like 300 milliliters of water, something like that. Sure, I can accept that less CO2 emissions are coming from me, but me actively being in an environment does not drought it. Your mother, on the other hand,
AI art, we will actually save energy and carbon, not to mention time and money. And as AI continues to get
let's just all save money together by using AI-generated art instead of paying artists. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to convince Bernier to tell me how much more money I owe her. Meanwhile, I have a commission in with Bonbon right now for another PNG tuber for the Magic the Gathering channel. Meanwhile, I still have more artwork being designed for this particular model from Mehu Labs because we have the artwork competition for everybody going on right now. I don't know. I'm not trying to juxtapose and say that I'm a fucking saint here, but
better and better.
Frosty says, even if we're talking CO2 emissions, are going to need the math on that? Sure, here's the study. But I'm always just gonna grant the premise. I am almost always just gonna grant the premise. Your argument is 100% true and doesn't mean what you think it is. I think that works infinitely better. Meanwhile, I have, speaking of money for commissions, I have $40 in my bank account. I cannot afford commission right now.
It will presumably also get more and more energy efficient. But okay, putting aside the question...
I don't need to see you in the pool. No, we're done. We're done. I do not need to see AI apologetic nipples today. I'm good. I'm good. I do not need that in any way, shape, or form. Nixie-chan, holy fucking shit, thank you so much for the 10 subs. That was not me trying to prompt you to give me money. Axel says, I hate this fucker so much. I'm a craft kid. Environmental shit is one of my special interests. He doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Because, again, he's doing the Mott and Bailey. Here's my indefensible statement. To defend that indefensible statement, let me use a far more specific defensible statement that is only a small portion of the other larger statement. Like, that is disingenuous as balls. Okay, so what did we learn today? Well, I personally learned that I hate everyone and everything. But moreover, I learned that when somebody is trying to do apologetics for AI, there are ways to go about it. There are certain things that the technology is decent at doing and does not actively harm other people when it is doing so. Those are your silver linings you should be using, not this allows me to not get scrutinized by the court of public opinion more, and also the only problem that I can see is the environmental one that also doesn't exist the way that I'm arguing it because I'm disingenuous as balls. Access to individual people only have carbon footprints because of a campaign by Big Oil to push responsibility onto us instead of the big corporations. Yerp. Sakura says, also of note, the carbon impact of art is not the total carbon impact of the person versus the data center. It is the extra impact. Aaron says, how many AI denizators can Sin blow up? Well, he is a Leviathan, so probably as many as you want. Old Gus says, disingenuous as silicone testicles. Look, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm not even going to argue against that one. You know what? If that's your fetish, more power on you. I'm going to walk away from this. And I'm going to walk away from all of you. Bye. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitt, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.